workshops and their trainings and things like this. And just to realize that, you know, that's an age group, that U18 is an age group that you guys work with. So we'll kind of go over some of the things and observations that I did notice there, and a few other aspects. So today is going to be a mixture of doing some judo and also just just a little bit of lecture, or a lot of lecture, whichever it turns out to be. Hopefully not too much lecture, and hopefully I encourage you guys to ask questions, and we'll go from there. Okay? I will ask you to have a phone within reach. Okay? You're not going to hear that very often on a judo mat, but we will be using our phone. Okay, so we will be using our phone a few times during the day, and we're just gonna ask you guys to make sure that you can have it on the side and stuff like this, but to have it in reach. Well, fundamentally, we're going to talk about competition judo. We're going to talk about a lot of the skills that were needed for competition judo. But really, the most important thing is really building good judo. Okay, you build good judo, you have opportunities to build good athletes. Right? There's a lot of people out there that are building some decent judo players that have a lot of tricks, and then when their tricks run out, then it comes to a judo match and they lose the judo match because it's only tricks. Okay? So, but we are going to just talk a little bit about a system that was kind of, I piggybacked from Great Britain and Scotland, and just an idea of like bringing thoughts and ideas and a way of thinking together. So first, the trademarks. So the trademarks really come down to what you should be looking for and developing within your judoka that are competing. Okay, and Peter Gardner, who is somebody that he has a successful program. One word that he likes to use, especially for under 18s, is trying to build champions is not a bad thing. It's actually a really good thing, because we are trying to build champions, but really it's the lessons they learn, and if they become champions in whatever you define a champion as, okay, the fact that they have that work and that ethic to become a champion, okay, and how you define that is how you want to define it. But it's not a bad thing. So like, even though Peter Gardner works with lots of little kids and his program stops at 18. Okay? So he's not trying to build world champions. He's just trying to build really champions in life. But through that is competition. Right? It's one of the better ways to do it. So like encouraging judoka to participate in competition for all those positive things. Okay? And especially when we're talking about again, getting young ones moving. Okay, because I'm sure a lot of you guys come to practice and you have a lot of kids that are less motivated, but if you give them a goal to try to be whatever that champion is, okay, whatever that looks like, and you encourage them to become a better version of themselves, okay, you'll get them moving. And that's our process, get them moving. And a few of them will come and raise and raise and raise and get to higher and higher levels. Okay? But in general, we should be selling that idea of like, you don't have to, your goal shouldn't be day one, become an Olympic champion, but that idea of, hey, we will have a good championship attitude as we approach this. Okay? We're doing judo, great, but we're also trying to build those people. Okay? So again, for our trademarks, okay, this one's a huge one, fight without fear and fight with belief. Like, that is a huge one. And you could, I can tell you just recently at the Cadet Worlds, I could tell you the ones that were fighting without fear and fighting the ones that were just like, I don't quite believe I should be here, right? And that was like evident at the first trainings. And it was very evident when we started to talk about a little bit of tactical and stuff like this, and some of them didn't even know their own judo. So if you don't know your own judo, okay, it's pretty hard to actually fight with belief. Okay? Easier, obviously. Lower levels, you throw anybody for a pond. But as you get up, you need to have that belief. So again, fight without fear and belief. And for me, for most people, okay, a lot of that is preparation. Okay? If you believe that you prepared properly, you have that chance. If you believe that you didn't prepare properly, now you have, you know, this idea of like, I can't do this because I didn't prepare myself. Okay? So then we go to dominating kumikata and gripping. Okay, this is one of the more important aspects that we have in judo. Obviously, putting your hands in the right place. If you put your hands in the right place, more opportunity you're going to be able to throw. Okay, put your hands in the right place, more opportunity that your opponents won't get their grip and won't throw you. So again, the first thing we do in a judo match is bow, and then we're going to touch the person. Okay, trying to be first and trying to dominate the gripping. Okay, so again, that is one of the key factors, but it's not the only factor. Okay, throwing is the key to the sport. We need to be able to throw. Okay, contest management, and contest management is everything from knowing the rules, understanding the scores, working with your coaches. Okay, knowing the environment you're in. Okay. So like, there's a lot of different aspects to contest management. But one of the keys that I'm going to be handing out to the clubs, a little binder there, and there's an article that really goes through the contest management. About like, you're down by Wazari, this much time left, you're fighting a left-handed player, you know, what's your plan, right? So again, understanding what's going on is really important. And contest management is really important to kind of focus on, especially in practice, because if you kind of even look at our schedule of events and you think about like, hey, how many competitions I'm going to, then you actually think about how many scenarios that athletes actually get into over and over and over again. There's not that many times for them to actually practice those things. So if you go to a hockey practice, you know, they'll practice a breakout in a certain way, under a certain pressure, and they'll practice this all the time because it's a repeatable thing that happens in a game. Well, there's a lot of repeatable things that happen in judo that we just don't do in practice, and we don't understand, and then the athletes are in that situation, and now they're stuck, right? So contest management is not just what's happening at the competition, it's how you're educating the athletes to be able to understand matches. Okay, refereed matches from little kids to older ones, awesome ways to do that. Again, there's a simple way right there. Okay, okay, throw for a pawn. Okay, yesterday at the practice, the one right before the randori that I said, I made sure the one rule that has not changed in judo is that if you score a pawn, you win. Okay, so that ability to throw for a pawn. And so I told everybody, hey guys, I don't care for you guys to worry about where you're gripping as much. I want you trying to throw for a pawn. That's your goal. Throw for a pawn. Throw for a pawn, especially early in the season. Just, you know, don't worry about your grip and here like this. Yes, get a better grip and then try to throw for a pawn. Again, throw for a pawn. It is one of our key factors. Okay? One of the key factors. Okay? Win in Newaza. If there was any time in the history of judo since the 1960s that Newaza is like one of the more important parts, it's now. Okay, I can say that at the Cadet Worlds and the Junior World, Junior Europeans that just happened, and watching matches, like there was exchanges that were over a minute and a half, just a minute and a half. You know, and somebody got it, and a lot of the coaches are coaching in the way that, hey, you are winning, and there's a minute left, just finish the match, and there wasn't, because the refs will let you go. You have to work, grind, you know, be tough. It's not easy. It's very actually demanding, but a whole like minute. Like it's amazing how much Newaza is happening. Okay, will the rule change? It could change, but I think it's a positive aspect. I don't think the IGF is going to go that way. At the seniors, it's a little less compared to what I saw at the cadets and at the juniors. But at the cadets, I mean, it was massive. It was massive. Okay, so again, these are trademarks that we would like to see of a judoka that is going to the national championships. Obviously, going into every competition, we would like to see that. But really, you know, those those 5 points, if they fight without fear, they try to dominate the grip, they understand what's going on in the match, they have the ability to throw for ippon, and they can win in Newaza, most times they're going to have a really positive outcome. Okay? A lot of positive things are going to happen. Okay, so just very basic trademarks that we want everybody to think about and the clubs to think about. And then working with the trademarks is basically, okay, a development of a plan. Okay? And this plan is all about you. And this is like, again, everybody can have a plan, but this is just an outline. This is an outline to give everybody just a way of thinking about how your judoka should be looking by the time they get to a national championships. Okay? So basically, the big 5, and that big 5 could be many different things. But a lot of these throws here are the ones that are being used at the highest level, okay, and are throwing for ippon. Okay, so if we put it in a simple language, the big 5 throws are like ippon throws. Even though the 4 small throws, they can score ippon, but a lot of those are like yuko wazaris. Okay, drops and changes levels can score both here like this. Counters can score both, and newaza. But really, what you want to be able to do, and I'll take Uchimata as an example. So if I'm developing Uchimata, I need to be able to have 1 or 2 ways to set up my Uchimata, and okay, vice versa. Okay, my Uchimata can change to some of these techniques. Okay, then if I can, I would like to have a drop technique that works with the grip that I have for the Uchimata. Okay, and then okay, from that grip that I have that I'm doing the Uchimata, I want to be able to have counters to be able to counter a person. Okay, because I have my grip, I'm looking for the Uchimata, I'm using my techniques. Oh, the person does it bad. I want to be able to have a counter. Okay, and then obviously, if from all this and good things or bad things happen, we end up in newaza. Okay, I have good offense, defense, and transition. Okay, so it's just a way of kind of thinking about each individual judoka that you have. Okay, you can go and look at, you know, like what throws they're doing, and it doesn't have to be these ones, but I can tell you that if your athlete's major throw is kuchi makikomi, it's going to be hard for them to develop an attacking plan off of kuchi makikomi. Okay? But if you tell me that their major throw is seonegi, then it makes sense, because now you can work with kuchi makikomi. So again, their big throw, whatever that is, it has to make sense. And it has to make sense with how you're going to be able to grip. Okay? It seems like pretty easy concepts, but it's also a little hard to make sure that each judoka has these tools in their toolbox. But they need to have those toolbox. These counterparts right here, this for me, and we'll be doing a piece on counters tomorrow, is probably the thing in North America that we don't do as well as the rest of the world. Okay? We think about offense, attacking here and there, doing all fancy tricks and everything, but we don't counter well. Okay? We don't counter well. And a counter doesn't mean a person waiting for, okay, the ability to counter somebody. That's the ability to be fighting, and when the person makes a mistake, you're able to counter them. Okay? Oh, they make a mistake, you're able to counter them without showing that you're going to counter. That is one of our weaknesses, and I would really like for a lot of, and we're going to talk a little bit about it, a lot of our judo to think about how to counter certain techniques. Okay? Because if you're fighting a left-handed player who, you know, you're a right-handed player, and they do Uchimata, and it's very good, and you don't have any solution for it, most likely they're going to be able to attack often and probably score eventually. Okay? But if you have a counter, and that counter happens early in the match, all of a sudden you change what's going on in the match. All of a sudden now this match, is now a match of cat and mouse rather than, okay, shark and little fish, right? So what we want to do, again, is to make sure that our judoka have some sort of attacking plan. And really, this is all about judo. It's all about judo. It's about how we do our judo, okay? So when I'm talking about how we do our judo, then that's what we're going to start with. First, we're just going to warm up, and everybody, we're going to do some uchikomis to warm up. And then we're going to get into what you guys teach and how you teach, and you're going to have a little bit of assignment about how you're developing your judo for your judoka. Okay? But you also, again, I know that a lot of times you teach the judo you know. Okay? There's two things. First, teach the judo you know. Then you need to get comfortable with the judo you don't know. Okay? And there's a limitation to it. I can't teach Marante Sonegis because I can't touch my shoulder. Right? So there's a limitation to it. So again, yeah, you might have to find an expert. You might have to find a younger person that's able to help you to teach those certain skills, or to get them to help with the idea of how we're doing judo. Okay? So just to get us moving and warming up and now getting more into the practical part of it, just going to get your partner up and just do some moving uchikomi, just down there, come back, walk back. We'll do that for the next 5 minutes, and then we're going to kind of get into an assignment. Okay? What I want you to do is think about your best technique. So the best technique, or the technique you like to teach the most, whichever that looks like, whatever that is, whatever that is. And I want you to develop a practice plan, and what that looks like just using that specific technique. So let's say we go back to Uchimata. Okay? I'm using Uchimata, and this is what my practice plan is going to look like when I'm teaching Uchimata. Just simple like that. Your theme of your practice is Uchimata. Okay? So just take 5 minutes to think about it, what techniques you would do, what drills, what exercises, how your warm-up would look like, what are those aspects that you would need to have within your practice plan that's going to help you, okay, with the teaching of that skill. Okay? Just 5 minutes, just working on it. Okay, you can be writing it down, you can work with a partner, it's up to you. You will need your phone in a second. Okay? You will need your, what is the technique are you teaching?
Aragoshi.
Aragoshi. Okay, so put your phone down for a second. Okay, so using, what is the warm-up exercises you're thinking about when you use Aragoshi?
What do like pull, like just Kazushi pulls.
Okay.
Speed skaters for balance.
Okay. So speed skaters is more that's happening at the beginning of practice. Yeah. Okay. So maybe kind of go in chronological order, please. Okay. Speed skaters. Okay. Good.
Pulls, movement like opening up with Ouchi.
Okay.
And rolling with like the throw, like finishing it.
Okay. So you're actually doing some throwing, like
yeah.
Rolling. Okay. And throwing it. Perfect. Okay, that's it.
Yeah.
That's good. Good. Justin.
Osoto Gary.
Yep.
So with the warm up, a lot of like 1 foot kind of hopping, balancing, doing the rocking like with a partner. So having your legs connected, hopping and rocking down the mat, kind of accelerating into that step, and with your partner actually getting into the gripping, the Kazushi, making sure everything's tight, and then, yeah, going to throwing, practicing setting it up, and then we talked about counters as well. If someone does Osoto on you, you can turn it into a Hiraigoshi.
Perfect. Okay. Excellent. Okay. What I'm going to ask you guys to do is get your phone, and we're gonna talk about practice plans right now. How many of you have an AI driver or ChatGPT, whatever, on your phone? Okay? If you do, and if you don't, try to get it on your phone right now or have it on your computer. Put in practice plan for the technique you just did. what I have found out, okay, over the summer is I did a little bit of research of like how fast a practice plan can be developed for a technique that you want to develop that gives you a quick outline in about 30 seconds. And I know that a lot of you guys do not do the judo for a living. But we have to kind of start using the technology that allows us to like give us a lot of good ideas. The other thing about the AI and using using it for ideas and developing practice plans is they're basing their research on best practices. Okay? So I know that, you know, when I put in teach Uchimata for a 15-year-old, it'll start with what warm-up exercises are really appropriate for it. Then it goes to how many throws to be used, what techniques, okay? Actually adapting randoris to the certain types of randoris that you could actually apply to make sure that Uchimata is actually practiced in randori instead of teaching a technique and then the kid's never actually practicing the technique. And then it talks about what we're going to be talking later, how to actually get better at it and you have to actually get physically strong. So the one thing we're going to talk a little bit about it, but AI is one of these things that, as being a person that's interested in developing as a coach, it can be a tool that's going to help you. And it's a tool that is going to give you some ideas, and it's a tool that you can customize to how you teach. But it can whip it out in 30 seconds. Boom. Practice plan, Uchimata. Wow. Okay, great. This is what I actually do. I don't like that. I like this. I like that. Boom. Done. Okay? So I really, I would like you guys to, like, today or tonight, and to play with it. Actually, kind of have it. Just come and write it out and realize that, you know, they're taking information from all sources possible. It's like the code can in your hand. It's a red and white black belt from Japan that's giving you ideas, and you can get it here without you having to overthink things and create things. I'm not saying that you can't create things.
So that means that AI gonna teach everything to you.
No, hey, it's not gonna.
So what are you gonna do?
No. What I'm saying.
Drawing
no,
from multiple sources.
Good. This is good discussion. There's a difference between knowledge, and a shortcut that can help you and be more efficient. Right? So it's not teaching me how to do judo. I have to teach judo. I have to take my skills and actually translate them to other people. But what it can do is give me ideas that maybe I never had before. That's what it is. Because a lot of you guys have busy lives. You have busy lives. You're running around here like this, and you know, sometimes going to practice is like, okay, I'm going to do this, right? Well, I'm just saying that you can have an assistant. I am absolutely not going to go in every practice and go AI. But I did find it very interesting. And I did find like how they list and how they develop things and how they say to look at things. It's interesting, right? It's like reading a book. Okay? If you read a judo book, you know what? And you use ideas from that judo book, that's the same thing as using AI. Yes, question?
Yep. So, to your question, an easy way to do this is, so let's say you've got a plan, you already made your lesson plan for the day. An athlete shows up, man, I twisted my ankle. You say, okay, well, that lesson plan is not going to work anymore because it was all Ashiwaza. You say, hey, ChatGPT, show me how to do this, but for modifications for somebody who's got a twisted ankle. And it might well be able to spit out, oh, well, this, and this. And you're like, good. I just spent a minute planning all my variations for you, injured child, and then I can still run my practice for the rest of class. I don't have to waste any brain power trying to plan so you don't feel left out.
Well, all I'm trying to say is that every professional that I have run into is using it. in all of their other businesses, companies, and everything else, right? And if it can help, then use it. If you think it's totally ridiculous, don't use it. But what I'm saying is that it's there, and it's going to keep developing, and it's something that can help you. Okay? That's what we're saying. You don't have to, again, maybe you are the best practice plan maker in the history of judo, great, or maybe you struggle. But if you are the struggle one, yeah, there you go. It is going to help you with your struggles. And literally, like, I played with it. 8-year-old lesson plan. Okay? 2 weeks into judo, 8-year-old lesson plan. But it's better if you use a judo technique, you apply it, an age, and you be specific. It gives you like some decent information.
Is there a certain chat bot, like chat?
Yeah, I just did chat. What is
Chat
it?
GPT.
Yeah, the basic one. Again, the free one. The free one. I've never used the advanced one. And all I'm saying is also, when you write your practice plan, if you write your practice plan, and you could compare it to like, oh, you know, this is what, you know, is being used, or this is what is being recommended. But I can tell you, out of all the years of my experience in judo, there's some pretty solid information. Like I'm not lying. Like it's solid information. Like when they talk about Ichimata development, like I've put Ichimata in there several times. A lot of great judo techniques, a lot of great drills that they're saying, practices, different ways of doing things. Is that going to replace Maruyama actually teaching it? No. But it's a plan. It's a structure. Okay? It's a structure. That's all we're asking. So, okay, that was kind of my little spiel on that. We're going to get into more judo in a second. We're going to talk a little bit more of a comprehensive way of looking at the 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1 model, and we'll go from there. We're going to talk a little bit about like, the idea of a comprehensive plan. So again, thinking about like how you would use and how you would use that idea of like big 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. We won't talk too much about the 1. We'll talk about the Newaza in a little while, but we're really going to focus on like starting with the big throw. So again, just like Justin, Osotogari. So again, whatever that, okay, if we think about Osotogari, whichever way that Osotogari looks, and however you teach it, it doesn't have to be, you know, it could be many different ways. Okay, how you do your Osotogari. Okay, so that can't be it, right? You have to start to think similar to how Europeans teach and how Japanese teach, how Korean teach. Okay, when you're thinking of Osotogari, we have to start to think about, okay, there's Osotogari, and very often as a white belt, you go out, you throw a person Osotogari. Yellow belt, sometimes at nationals, that's all you do is Osotogari. But it gets more complex, okay? It gets more complex. So I know when I started my daughter in judo, okay? We started a lot of things on movement. It was very simple. And Osotogari. Like that, those were the two things. So we started the idea, and again, it works exactly like this, is how do we move them to put them into place for Osotogari? Which is kind of like the number 4s up there. So again, we're very much on the outside here and do Osotogari. Okay, again, a little bit of a, okay, because we're not just thinking about, okay, good, you came in direct Osotogari. But at some point, now we have to prepare the Osotogari. So when you're teaching, think about, okay, we're here Osotogari, we make sure that they have a good skill. Okay, the next part is what's the preparation? Okay, oh. Okay. Osotogari, whichever your preparation is going to be. Okay, so now we're thinking about different aspects of how we're going to be doing Osotogari. Right? It's not just Osotogari. is how to put them in the right place. It could be for Seonegi, Uchimata, every technique. Okay? So what I recommend is when you think about teaching, okay, you do your Osotogari or whatever technique, think about the two combinations that you feel comfortable teaching that work with Osotogari or work with that technique. The next part, okay, is, again, what are the different grips you can have, okay, when you do different techniques or when you do the Osotogari. Okay, so again, if we go back to my daughter, one of the, hey, we didn't care that this was not legal for you 12s and you 14s or whatever all those rules were. She's going to grab this grip and she's going to do Osotogari. 100%. Because this is an offensive grip, okay, and I do Osotogari here. Well, the Osotogari that I'm doing from that grip is still the same technical skill that I'm doing, okay? It's still Osotogari, right? It's just different hands. So we're now also thinking feet in preparation, but different hands. Okay, the other one, part of Osotogari is, okay, two hands like this, and okay, she does a very good Osotogari. One hand here like this. Okay, all on purpose. Okay, it's not just, okay, good, I did Osotogari and now I expect to throw people. Okay, and I'm using her as an example because she started as a little kid, came through the system, and now is on the IGF tour, right? So the one unsuccessful part of our teaching for her from using the Osotogari is a change of level that works with that grip. Okay, she just never was able to do it. Okay, she was able to do from here to here and then to Sumi, but wasn't able to do it successfully. But with some techniques, you have to be thinking, what is my change of level? What is the change of level that I can use from the Osotogari? Type of motion, the preparation, their defense. Okay, what is that going to look like? So you have to start to think, again, we're trying to put a model together because, again, direct attack, great. Direct attack doesn't work. Okay, good. Preparation. Okay, good. Okay, preparation, direct attack doesn't work. Okay, change of level. Right? So thinking about how to put an attacking plan around a technique. Okay? Then the other aspect, and Justin brought it up, again, your ability to, okay, what are the counters for Osotogari? Okay? If you do Osotogari, right? So if I do Osotogari, I better know how my partner can counter me. Okay? I can counter myself, but I need to know how my partner can counter me, right? Because then I have a better idea of how to use the Osotogari when they're trying to counter me. Okay, so again, easy one. If he comes Osoto, obviously I can counter with the Osoto myself, or Haragoshi, right? Let's say I come Osotogari, he try to lift me Uranegi. Okay, he lifts Uranegi, I make space. Okay, lift me. Okay, he puts down. Okay, then Osotogari. Okay, so again, some basic fundamental. Hey, I can learn how to counter the Osotogari, and I need to understand what counters, okay, happen, and therefore I can now, okay, work on the Osotogari and those counters. So what I'm going to ask you to do is now kind of go with your partner. Pick whatever technique you want to work with, but work on a whole comprehensive way for that technique. Your big throw, okay, whatever that is. Uchikomis, okay, direct attack, okay, set up, okay, here. Then go to, okay, preparation, okay. Okay, like that, okay, change your grip. Okay. Okay. See. Change the level, or whatever that's going to look like. Change the level. Change the level. Okay, and then, okay, planning on the toe. Okay, oh, counter, right? Okay, come. Oh, so up. Oh. Right? So, if you can get your athlete or your judoka to have a comprehensive idea of the technique, the more successful they will be with that technique. Kind of make sense? Okay, so go with your partner, pick a technique, usually one that you're most comfortable with. Okay, obviously your basics. Okay, what are the two, okay, ashiwaza combinations, preparations, different grips that you would use, okay, a change of level that might work with those techniques, okay, and then a counter. And that kind of covers all the way 5, 4, 3, 2. Okay. Wait. Okay, guys, come around for a second. Like I said, it's a mindset. Okay, and I'm using my daughter as an example because. Yeah, I was teaching her at 7 years old, but I wasn't. Ralphie Benez was teaching her, my wife was teaching her, and I was kind of the outside one that was helping. But if they pick up skills, again, our goal was to. Who cares if I don't care how she does in competition, but she will have championship judo. She will practice with a championship attitude, and we're going to teach ways to have good positive judo. And if she becomes a champion or not, we really don't care. And my wife and myself, she cares now, but we don't care. But the idea of that, you know what, we're going to go through with that idea of what I was talking about before is that, you know what, hey, it's not a bad thing to like want to build champions. It's not a bad thing. But it starts with judo. It starts with teaching good judo. It starts with having a good idea of like, this is how we're going to teach. And that's where we're going to live on that sword. And that's, the next year you might go, that was crap. You know? Or you might go, all right, let's take this and then improve this and do that and do this. But, hey, you know, have that attitude. Because all of you can do it. Okay? How many people know who Ralphie Benez is? Does anybody know who Ralph? Okay, so you know Ralph. Okay? He teaches little kids and he teaches like good stand-up judo. Okay, and it translates. It translates. Like, again, what she was doing at 7 years old, she's doing now at the IGF Tour. Like, I can tell you that that movement to a Soto happens all the time. Krista Degucci will tell you that a lot of the techniques she was doing at 7 years old, she still does now. Right? So, how you teach and where you teach, believe me that it will translate. Okay? It will translate. And they will remember it. Okay? So, again, if I'm teaching this, I'm not even as a lesson plan. Okay? So the lesson plan would probably look like we're doing actually foot sweeps to warm up, here like this. Okay, we might be doing a few kicks here like this. Okay, just to warm up here like this. I might actually get my ukes to do a little bit of going like this, because when I teach this, I'm also teaching right away to a foot sweep. Okay, do like this. Okay, and then we're going to here in Osoro, and then talking about those aspects. Osoro, right? But it starts with that basic movement. Yeah, movement. Okay. Uchikomi is great, and I love Uchikomi. Okay, but we have to have as much movement as we are based out of Uchikomi. Okay, so think about, like I said, building your judo, building comprehensive judo, and realize that what you teach young will and can stick. Okay, will and can stick. Okay, and again, good things about simple movement patterns is that, okay, repeatable over and over again. Okay, just one at a time. Okay, okay, here, okay, repeatable. Okay, things that are, okay, repeatable. You know, if you ever see Japanese women's team, okay, 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 let's get some time. Yeah, good. Okay, ready. Yeah. You know, and they'll do this just over, right? And just over. Foot patterns, foot patterns, foot patterns, foot patterns. That's not for necessarily the young ones, but for your older ones. Get them moving, get them moving, get them understanding some timing. The one thing, and I talked to Trevor about this, and we'll talk about it tomorrow, that I was quite amazed at, is that during a lot of the warm-ups that happened during the World Championships, a lot of countries started with basic Ashiwaza timing. You know, as easy as, we're just gonna go back and forth, as easy as this. We're talking like Kazakhstan, you know, major judo powers, just going like this, just, okay, this is part of their warm-up, but they're starting with timing. They're working on timing early, okay? And just simple patterns like this that are making huge differences, okay? So, again, think about your judo, and Sensei Gord actually had a good question. Is like, I was showing Osoto Gary. So you could do a whole lesson plan on whatever technique you decide to do, or you could introduce the concept that we just talked about and then let them do their own techniques. But the danger of letting them go is you better know the level of judoka you have. Because if they've never thought about combinations, they've never thought about countering techniques, they never thought about a lot of those skills, you have to give it to them. Right? You have to give it to them so that it's you guys that are the ones that are giving the knowledge to them. What we're trying to do with this type of thinking and patterns and thinking about an attacking plan is giving you structure to give that knowledge to them. Right? Because too many times we're like teaching techniques all over the place, but not in a structured manner. Right? And you guys all have the knowledge. And we don't need to go on AI for your judo knowledge. But for planning, how are you going to teach? How are you going to teach? How are you going to teach? Okay? Okay? Try to build a champion, try to build a champion, try to build a champion. Okay? All the good things that come from that, all the good judo that comes from that, trying to build a champion. Okay? Perfect. Okay, any questions? Okay.
Well,
Yes.
that's what I say. Another thing is, a lot of people is like not too much tokuiwaza
Yeah.
to go to combination or whatever. That's more, to me, that's more important too.
Mhm.
I know you have a lot of technique, okay. Shionege, Osukari, Harai, everything. Nice to have, no. But you have to be, you have tokuiwaza to get go to difference. Left hand, right hand, you have thinking, then you gotta go to me. But a lot of people, you know, they wanna mix.
So in the world of judo today, there's a lot of tricks, right? But my opinion is that you have your tokiwaza,
Yeah, tokuiwaza, yeah.
Or
yeah, famous.
two.
Yeah.
maybe three if
Yeah,
you're lucky.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
If you're very lucky, 3 tokiwaza,
Yeah.
right? So again, tokiwaza is your major scoring technique, the big fives, right? And then you build your judo around this and you grow your tree. That's how Sensei Nakamura always talked about it. Is you have to start at your base, and then you start to get that base really strong. And when you get strong and you're able to throw for ippon with your tokiwaza, okay, then you start to find the branches and all these aspects that kind of then bring it together so that at every level you can throw your tokiwaza versus left, versus right, versus different grips or different things. Absolutely. I'm not telling everybody to like teach 25 different techniques, but in a judo lesson and everything, you might have to like teach a number of techniques, especially early in the season, then they should be working on their tokiwaza, okay, and then move forward. And it's going with what Sensei Gord said, hey, if they already have a bunch of skills, then you just introduce the concepts. Hopefully through the concepts, then they can get through things, and it gets them asking questions as well. But 100%, that's the whole idea. First, you need to have that throw-to-throw for your palm, your tokiwaza, okay, whatever that looks like. Again, if your foot sweep is your best technique, so there was a Spanish guy, he's the head coach of the Spanish team, Ruiz, and his foot sweep was his best technique. He couldn't throw with anything else. Hard to build your whole judo pattern around that, okay, because it's going to be mostly about physical conditioning and gripping. But usually we want to have osotogari, haragoshi, uchimata, seonegi, seotoshi. So these are your tokiwaza major throwers, right? Ones that, depended on you're going to score your on. Okay? So again, it's the concept. It's what I would hope that everybody can start to think about when they're looking at their athletes. And again, there's going to be some information there where you kind of you're sitting down with, I'll take Cohen Johnson from Tokugawa. Okay, Cohen Johnson from Tokugawa, you like Uchimata, good. Okay, Uchimata, you should probably have a switch when you fight a left-handed person. Against a right-handed person, you should probably be able to, you have to turn them left to be able to do an Uchimata. So you probably need to have a Kuchigari to turn them left, right? Or a Fako Soto, so then their hips turn, and then, okay, here like this. Okay, my Uchimata is not working, well, I better have a good Uchigari. Okay, my Uchimata is not working, good, maybe I switch to a Soto-gari, right? Okay, so these are the ideas. Oh, I'm fighting a lefty, and they have shown that they are able to counter with a Delgado or a reversal. Okay, well, I'm going to have to hold off my Uchimata. Okay, but maybe I can go Uchimata and then change it to Haragoshi because they're going to commit to something. Now we're talking this is how you develop a judo player. That's individualism. That's the ability to think in concepts and how to build judo players. And that's what we're hoping, that we want you guys to think that way. Because you have your general population judo class, but then you have your how you individually build things. Okay? And with all that being said, which we'll talk about later, none of that can happen without conditioning and strength and fitness. None of what I just said. Okay? But we're going to switch to newaza quickly. Okay? So, just very simple. We're going to talk about the rule 3, then we're going to talk about one of the most popular chokes. I'm going to get BJ to help me a little bit in the teaching and some of his observations because he is an expert and I respect his expertise. Okay, just very simple. Okay, like I was saying earlier, newaza is important. I can honestly tell you that until I moved to Montreal at 18 years old, newaza was not important in my life. Okay? And that was probably the biggest weakness that I had. And part of newaza that is difficult for a lot of kids to understand is that to actually get good in newaza, it's not about anything but work. But the good thing about it, unlike tachiwaza, is it is a mathematical game because there's only so many reactions that a judoka will make. Okay? It is a mathematical game. But it is work. And in today's judo classes, I don't know about your sessions, but there's a lot of people that don't put as much effort into the newaza as possible. Okay? And again, we need to, as a minimum, make your judoka strong enough that they don't lose in newaza. That's it. That is number one, is make them strong enough that they don't lose in newaza. It's not the good concept, but it is one that's going to make you successful in competition if you're good at tachiwaza. But the best concept is that you become a full rounded judo player that is good in newaza. And just like you have your tokiwaza in tachiwaza, you have to have your tokiwaza in newaza. Okay? So again, Newaza is a little easier because you can have 3, 4, 5, 6, whatever in Newaza, depending on how they position themselves, right? You can have these expertise. The rule of 3 that we've kind of working on or we're thinking about with the concept of British Judo and how you think about it and how you think about taking advantage of things is and this is very hard to do, is not to give up your back, because it's really not something that we always do in Judo, and we give our backs often, or we end up giving our backs often. But the more that you can think that, okay, if I give my back in Judo that I'm turning and facing, or I'm starting to get up and I'm protecting, okay, there it comes to that little bit of defense, right? It comes to that idea of, you know, I'm not just waiting for my partner, I'm not waiting for the referee to call mate. It becomes a mindset of how do I get from the bottom position to the top position. It's a mindset, right? But it is a mindset. Okay? The next one is, can you go down on your bum, face me? Okay? I would never even do any Judo. BJ does this. All right, come on. Right? Like again, understanding that this position, even though I can have an advantage here, it gives them as much advantage, okay, to him. And especially if they know what they're doing. Okay, this is an offensive position. So trying not to enter the legs, okay, and just entering the legs. And you can see it all the time. Kids just come in and go, right? And that's as far as what we want them to do. We want them to either pass or attack intelligently through the legs. Okay? And not get into that position where they are actually controlling the action right now. Okay? As much as I'm thinking I've got top position, the fact that they have this and now I'm worrying about how do I get out of this, and I hope they don't have anything good, okay? Compared to, okay, I'm back and I'm thinking about, okay, his legs aren't here, his feet aren't activated, how do I pass, how do I change things, how do I get through this? Okay? It's just a way, again, it's a mentality. And it's a mentality that you have to talk to your kids about is like, hey, try not to enter this just freely. Again, entering with a plan, that's okay. But 2 kids going here like this, that's not a plan. You need to actively discourage that. Okay? You have to discourage that. You have to talk to them about, or remind them not to do it. Okay? And then what we want to talk about is winning position. Okay? In this position, this cross-body position, this happens, okay, at least once a match. Okay? Either I'm attacking and I have the opportunity to win, or your opponent's on top of you and they're attacking. It will happen at least once a match. So knowing that position, either on the offensive way to like get your leg out and to control your partner, or being able to defend and not get caught. But it will happen. It's one of those mathematical equations that, you know, if the match goes long enough, this will happen. And in today's Newaza, and what we're going to talk, is that, you know what, you just go down for a second. Okay? No, on all fours. Okay? Is that, you know, they're just trying to open, okay, turn to your stomach, and then open, okay, turn to your stomach, yeah, and again, this is the type of, okay, and then turn to your stomach, okay, good, now, right, okay, good, now, okay, now, but that's what we're really thinking about, is that you're trying to get a reaction out of your partner to eventually find a way to get to your technique. But there's a lot of that's what's happening, like at the international level, is that it's opening, it's getting the legs, it's working, it's working, it's working. And you get a lot of people looking at the referee, and it's like, the referee's just letting it go. And I will be honest, and I'm not trying to insult any referee that's here, but many of the referees are still not comfortable with it, and they let it go even though there's nothing there. Even though the coaches know that there's nothing there, and even the athletes. And what happens is they let it go a little too long, and then something happens, right? But yeah, if it's being let go, something's going to happen in Newaza. Trust me. If one person's working hard, something is going to happen. So again, those 3 simple rules, just to respect, okay, is, okay, try not to give up your back. And if you do give up your back, don't sit there in a ball and think that's defense. Defense is active and trying to reverse your position. Second, don't just go through the legs. Okay, don't just reach through the legs. It's danger for you. You're going to get caught eventually. Think about passing, because again, it's offensive, and we're thinking about passing. Okay, and then third, know the winning position. Okay, position where you're on top and you have that ability to get the leg out. So we practice a lot of this at provincial events, and again, we can put you into a lot of videos and everything about how to get the legs out. Okay? The other thing before we start on some Newaza technique is I want also everybody to think about how we talked about a comprehensive way of teaching your tachiwaza is a comprehensive way of teaching your newaza. Okay? So what do those positions look like? Again, okay, just go to your stomach. Okay, so let's say we're here, we're just going to do a choke. Perfect. Okay, choke works. Okay, now we come to the choke. Okay, partner turns. Okay, turns. Okay, I come here. Okay, look for the osaikomi. Good. All right. I come from the choke. Here, partner stands up, tries to stand up. Okay, I come here. All right. So what we're thinking about is what are the most common reactions that actually happen in a judo match that you can predict are going to happen. Okay? So, again, if we're bringing it back to real life situation, the last one that I just did with the choke to the person stand up, okay? My daughter's won 6 major matches with that because it's predictable. Okay? So again, predictable ideas. So again, everybody should have what their favorite newaza technique is. Whatever that is. Okay? Like Sensei Lori could go and do Sankaku Jimmy and then talk about like, well, when they react, you do this. When they block, you do that. When you do this, you do that. That's what you have to think about when you're actually thinking about your newaza technique. Think about what reactions they're going to have. And if you're teaching a technique where you can't go to part B or part C, then maybe you have to kind of say, okay, that's a good technique, but what's a technique that I can keep on teaching that links together, links together, links together? Just go. Okay, so again, just anything that links together, okay? Okay, good. Here. Simple turnover. Okay, up again. Okay, good. Here, good. I'm in this position. Okay, good. Simple turnover. Okay. Okay. Here, good. Feet on my leg. Back down under. Here. Turnover. Here. Here. Hey, choke. Hey. Okay, he's blocking the choke. Okay, good. Change to a different choke. Okay. Okay, blocking the choke again. Okay, arm lock. Okay, so again, when we're thinking about how things work together, think about teaching in sequences. Okay? Because it's about reactions. It's about blocks. It's about what the other people can do. Okay? So for our warm-up before we do some technique, go with your partner. Favorite turnover, choke, pin, whatever. And think about what are the common reactions that you can take advantage of to go to different techniques.
Simple like that. Sodaguruma. Okay, so Sodaguruma, good. Okay, just go up a little bit. Okay, this has become one of the most popular chokes now, okay, in the IGF. Okay. Okay. The one thing that we've noticed that, you know, if you choke somebody like this, mate every single time. Okay? But with Sodaguruma, you could be on their face, their chin, their everything, and they're not calling mate. They are not calling mate. Right? It could start across their eyes, and then they're not calling mate. Like, literally, like that's how bad it is. And in the final of 81 kilos, Russian guy face down, did this. I don't think he choked. I think his neck was in such bad shape that he just tapped. The realization is that they're letting this go even if it's, you know what, if that was there, it's mate every single time. But across the chin, across the face, they're letting it go. If that rule is going to change in the near future, if the IGF is seeing what a lot of the coaches are seeing, but I can tell you that a lot of the teams are seeing this and they're being very aggressive. So I'm going to just show a basic one, and then we're going to get BJ to talk about how he teaches it and one of his combinations, and we'll talk a little bit about defense. Okay? Just because it is a popular technique. Okay, so mine is very simple. I'm just coming here, and this, I like to work in sequences and combinations, so I like to use this one when I'm going for turnover here. Okay, so it's the same entry. All we're going to do now is that we're going to, okay, come in. The hand's going to come high here like this. Okay, now I let go. I come over onto the here, and then up, and then here. Okay, and we're rotating on top. Okay, just a very simple way to quickly learn it from that idea of getting that rotation on top. Okay, so again, okay, we're just here, hands going all the way through, reaching the ceiling, up, here, across the neck, rotate up, and yeah, there you go. So put your hand up as high as you can. Okay, so now you're going to.
You got big arms?
Yeah. Inside.
Big arms versus
top. Back over top. Head down. Yeah.
The second hand going are they both going?
No, it's just like this. Just like in here and then
when I was watching Ted Worlds, most of these Sodigumas or Ezekiels were all like shoulder in variations. They were all like here, shoulder in, which is, I treat all those chokes like head and arm chokes. Okay, so it's actually not my hand that's compressing the other side of his neck, it's his shoulder. Okay, and I'm just putting my weight behind the shoulder to push it into his neck. My other hand is blocking. I use the blade of my wrist on the side of his neck. So whether I'm attacking from here or I come in front, it's the same thing. So I have arm in front of the shoulder and then under the arm. I'm gonna go left hand inside the right sleeve and I'm gonna side it through. Okay, now what I want to do is break him down to his hip or to his shoulder. So I just anchor in, put him down, and I want to keep him on his side. Then I'm gonna bring my chest over his shoulder and I just gonna drop my weight. So I'm using very little actual strength. I'm just using gravity and body position to finish the choke. Okay, so if I'm attacking from here, I can do the same thing from this variation here. Like if I get, in jiu-jitsu we call it seatbelt grip. If I can feed this all the way through, I'll even do it from here, and I'll anchor in. But now the same thing, this one's a little bit harder because I don't have as much weight behind the shoulder, but I'm gonna break him down to his right shoulder, use my hook, and then it's the same thing. I'm gonna try to get up to drive this shoulder into his neck until I get it. You okay? Yeah. Cool. A couple months ago, I was talking and I accidentally put the guys through.
Show the seatbelt. Show that one again. Just that one.
The
seatbelt one.
This one here.
Seatbelt.
So I go here.
Because this is a common position
Yeah.
in judo. Okay, so everybody, we'll work on this one. Okay, because I want to just pick one, and then we'll work on this one. Okay.
So this one
seatbelt.
here, I'm going to feed my hand through to the neck and to the armpit. So I actually, once I get my connection, I'm going to pull my hand through. Then I'm going to connect, and I'm going to lock in tight. Now I want to break him down to his right shoulder. So I just use my right knee in front of his elbow, and I start driving him in that direction here. And I want to stay behind him because I want his shoulder to drive into his neck. So then I start walking in until you get the tap. So again, I'm just using positioning. So I keep him on his side, I'm anchored in, and instead of squeezing, I'm gonna walk.
But then you also got up on the other one, right?
What's that?
You also could get up on him?
I can if I choose to, right?
Yeah.
If it's not working, and you don't want the ref to comment on you, then I can come up and start looking for something else. Come to this side, and still do with the same grips. But ideally, when I do variations of head and arm chokes, if he's on his shoulder, just go lay on your side. I want to be perpendicular like this, so I'm using my chest against them. The back one's a little bit harder, but it's still, if you can get behind the shoulder with the ankle. So again, I go one, snake my arm through, get my connection nice and tight while I'm still here, tight, knee in front of his elbow, and break him down to his side. Keep him on his side. I want to be like head to head as much as possible, so if he can move his head, he's going to probably be able to move his body. So I put his head in a vice, and then I just walk until you get the tap.
What are you anchoring this hand with? Or not? Are you not?
I'm not using the hand at all.
No.
I basically just place it on his back.
Place it.
As high as I can, so that it's
So
like,
Justin,
tight.
when BJ moved this way, why don't you move with him and see what
You can. You can, but I'm also behind his neck. So walk with me a little bit when I do that. Yeah. So I'm here, here. I break him down. Now start walking. I go here. So I still have, like,
You have leverage.
Yeah.
You can create leverage.
yeah. Well, it's a wedge.
Yeah.
I can place a wedge there so he can no longer continue to move backwards. Otherwise, it's just like a dog chasing its tail, right? So I put a wedge, walk, and then if it's not happening, like you usually say, if I'm trying to finish the choke and it's not happening 3-4 seconds, he's probably not, and he hasn't gone out yet, then I will probably go back on top and take a good position because that choke. I mean, if this choke is on, he's sleeping in 3 seconds, right? So 3-4 seconds, if he hasn't tapped. I'm just going to take my left hand and pull my right hand through to the pocket, so it's through.
So you're not grabbing it?
No, I grab it now.
You do grab it?
Yeah, I grab it now. I pull it through, and then I grab,
Right.
and then I just anchor in, like as high as I can.
Just curl it to your
I don't have to, it doesn't have to, especially this side, I can't, it's too far, I can't get to his neck. So I just anchor in, make sure my bicep and my forearm is blocking the right side of his neck. Then I go in front of the elbow, drive in that direction. Then on his side.
60 kilos. Got it.
If it's not working, you come back up, switch. This side's over here. If I can. So then I'm going to come in and block your elbow. Anyway, right so that you're on the side. This way. Now if I can get this, I just wedge it, I tighten it, and I just start walking back.
Yeah. I can see where the pressure points are. So
It's basically, if I can, it depends on size, right? But I want, ideally, I can lay my wrist on one side of the neck, and then your shoulder does the work on the other side. Right? So it's no different than an arm triangle. The way I finish it, an arm triangle, like a cutting choke.
I was talking to BJ about it, about how to defend. Okay, and so like I have a very simple like block in so they don't get it. Obviously that wouldn't work against something tight like BJ was doing and stuff like this. But BJ basically saying, hey, it all becomes hand defense. So like when he's fighting somebody that's quite good at doing this, okay, he's thinking where are their hands and how they're blocking, right? Maybe explain a couple seconds.
We want to avoid just turtling into the shell, right? So no, you're gonna come at me. So when I feel that hand coming in, I'm already blocking that hand, right? If I can control his hands, I don't have to worry about a choke, right? Because I'm holding his hands. And then here, because I have his hands, I can start looking into offense right away too, instead of just waiting for the ref to call my take, right? So I'm looking to control his hands. Go ahead. Yeah, I got his hand. Here. Control it. And I can put the offense. If he gets the grip, that's another thing. So if he gets that grip, this is going to be very hard. Now I'm trying to fight this hand and get it away so he can't anchor, right? And I'm trying to keep my shoulder away from my neck. Because he's going to try to drive it up, Even do the technique. I'm trying to do everything I can to not allow that shoulder to come to my neck. If he gets overzealous, go ahead. I could always switch it into offense again. If you choose to risk it. But first line defense is just keep that shoulder away from your neck. Well, first line defense is fight the hands. And then if he gets through, fight that second hand. It's no different than a rear naked choke. Right? If we go. A lot of people, when they fight rear naked choke, they fight this hand, right? But the hand that you should really fight is the anchor, right? So if he's coming here, he should pull that hand down. It's very hard to finish chokes with one-handed, not impossible. But if I get this hand behind, it's pretty much over, right? So it's the same thing with this one. If that hand gets in, then I'm looking for this hand here. Go ahead. I gotta pull this hand down. If I can't reach it, then I'm reaching my own neck, and I'm keeping him away from it. And then if you feel not working, then you can turn offense into defense. But it is very hard to fight a choke when he connects his hands, right? So first rule is don't let him connect his hands.
Perfect. Okay, guys, and the one thing, okay, and I know this from experience. When you practice newaza and when you encourage your judoka to practice newaza, okay, encourage them to take a chance in newaza because it's practice, right? You're practicing. So if you get into a bad situation, that's actually a good thing because you're under adversity and you find ways to get out and you find ways to like turn a defensive situation to an offensive situation. So if you can do anything when you go back and talk to the judoka is try to like, all right, you might start in a turtle position, but have this person not just wait and turtle. Okay, have them to be, hey, try to reverse your position, try to reverse your position, try to get out. And they might get caught, yeah, and that's okay, it's practice. But the more that they understand why they got caught, what technique the person did, how this happened, you naturally defend. I am going to tell you that you learn how to naturally defend. Like, when I went to the National Training Center in 1988, choking people out cold was a common practice. I was going out cold quite often. You learn. We're not in that situation. I'm not telling you to choke people out, but I'm telling you that, you know what? When you actually have to defend, you will learn. You will learn to hand fight. You will learn to find positions. You will learn to like get into good positions, and then you'll learn to be able to apply your tokiwaza from a position that you were in a bad position to now reverse it and get into your good position so you can apply your tokiwaza.
So please guys, remember when you're doing your drilling and you're asking your athletes to do their drilling, make sure that they're focusing on active defense, not just sitting there as a turtle, okay? Because hopefully your judoka are strong enough just to beat a turtle. Okay, we need to also work on that active defense and how to make sure that, oh, the person's not giving me this reaction, but I'm able to finish it, or that the person's able to escape.